Everyone thought he was a weak human, but he becomes the strongest magician in the demon army. Ike was a magician in the demon army, who has shown such extreme strength and skills that he got promoted to the rank of commander, letting him lead his troops on the battlefield as he strategizes how to take down the impregnable fort of Arsenal. On the battlefield, humans and monsters kill each other by the thousands, trying to fight for superiority over the other race, while Ike stands on a cliff and witnesses the massacre on the ground. After a long struggle, they somehow manage to break through the main gate of the castle and enter inside. But the humans do not back off and fight valiantly, giving their lives in order to defend their castle. The Lord Commander of the humans watches from his windows, safe inside the castle as the battle unfolds, when suddenly Ike decides to pay him a visit as he doesn't want so many lives to be lost. The commander turns around and immediately recognizes Ike because his tales are told everywhere. Ike confirms that he is the leader of the 7th Legion of the Demon King Army known as the Immortal Brigade and gives the commander 3 future options. He can calmly surrender and become a prisoner of war. He can game end himself to save his honor. Or if he doesn't have any honor, he can simply climb up the window and run away. The commander smirks and says he refuses to choose any of the options given by a scum who is a traitor to his own race, rushing forward with his sword to attack. But it is of no use as with a simple swipe of his wand, Ike knocks him out cold on the floor. Suddenly, his personal assistant Pig appears and asks what needs to be done about the prisoners of war. Ike turns around and tells him to heal the commander and anyone who surrenders without a fight, shocking Pig as well as a mysteriously hot woman who watches him from a crystal ball, impressed by how he captured such an important castle with a single brigade. Ike then puts a magical barrier around the entire area so no one can enter the battlefield anymore, while he looks outside to see countless human casualties and injuries being treated by the demons. He feels bad to see these atrocities unfold and never liked the way of war. But he has no other choice but to fight on endlessly since he himself is not a demon but a human wearing a demon mask. It turns out that he was abandoned at birth, but a demon magician named Ram took him in on a whim. Ram was an amazing magician and an amazing teacher who always talked about a time when both humans and demons could live together. Ram taught Ike everything he knew about magic, and before his death, he called Ike to his chamber, telling him to always keep the mask and the robe on. As if the Demon King knew he was not a demon, he would be tortured and killed immediately. Ike sits down on the chair to relax, putting a magic field around the room so no one could enter without his permission. But suddenly he notices a trembling maid beneath the table, who immediately starts apologizing and crying, claiming that she didn't see anything. She hits her own head on the table and gets knocked out, while Ike wonders how to deal with this problem, deciding to think about it later as Pig calls him outside. As they wander through the streets witnessing the destruction caused by the war, Pig asks Ike why they spare so many humans. Ike curtly replies that the current Demon King only cares about the results and not how they achieve them. But Pig claims that many demons think Ike is too easy on the humans and it would be better to kill all the residents and set the streets on fire. Ike refuses, explaining that they need humans to pay taxes as war is not cheap and that Arsenal is a trade city, so humans are needed to manage that. Pig struggles to understand when Ike suddenly stops as a group of humans approaches him. Pig warns them to back off, but Ike tells them to speak. One of the residents asks how much more tax they will have to pay the demon army, and to their surprise, Ike says the taxes will remain the same, which makes them happy. But he warns them that if they try to oppose the army, they will be punished. While speaking, Ike suddenly disappears in a bright light, surprising Pig. Ike finds himself in a dark dungeon and is immediately attacked by a giant monster. He dodges the blow and runs, shouting at the mysterious woman not to call him like this. The demon keeps attacking, so he pulls a wand and uses a special magic attack to kill the demon, which we can't see because the editors forgot to increase the brightness. The woman appears beside him, claiming he was just a kid who used to hide behind Ram the last time she saw him. She notes the golem was strong, indicating Ike's growth in power. The woman, Saphiro, is Ike's superior and the only demon who knows his secret. She tells him not to worry about being summoned abruptly, saying it's more fun that way. Ike asks if he is here to report on the war efforts, but Saphiro says she saw everything and his execution was flawless. She reveals that the Demon King wants to meet him, which surprises Ike, as a Demon King wouldn't typically need to meet a mere brigade leader. He asks what the catch is, but Saphiro says the king is interested in how he managed to take Arsenal in a week. She teleports them to the Demon King's castle, which impresses Ike with its size. They approach the main gate guarded by demons, and Ike asks Seth if he will be checked before entering. Seth replies that the Demon King is the most important person in their world, so everyone is checked. Ike is nervous about revealing his identity, but the guards are overwhelmed by his magic aura and let them through, acknowledging him as Rom's grandson. They walk through the hallway, with Seth flying beside him, and Ike thinks about how he is not as good at flying as she is. They reach the courtroom entrance, where Seth tells him to wait. While waiting, Ike thinks about the Demon King, Darrow, known for competence and ruthlessness. The humans were winning the war until Darrow changed everything in a single battle. Darrow is ruthless to incompetence, but rewards talent and competence, regardless of nobility. Seth returns and calls Ike inside. He enters with his head bowed, but is shocked to see a girl on the throne. Initially thinking she is the Demon King's daughter, he quickly realizes she is Darrow and bows down. Darrow is impressed by his quick capture of Arsenam and questions his reluctance to kill humans unnecessarily. Ike argues that fear doesn't breed loyalty and competent leadership will earn human support. Darrow, intrigued, teleports in front of Ike and demands to see his true face before leaving. Terrified, Ike sighs in relief and learns he will rule over Arsenam as a reward. Back in Arsenam, Ike finds the maid, Sadie, awake and apologizing. He assures her safety and appoints her as his personal maid, promising to keep her secret. During the damaged city, Ike realizes the defenses need urgent repair. Pig estimates 6 months, but Ike insists on 1 month, organizing a joint effort between humans and demons to work around the clock. Pig, witnessing Ike's genius and effective leadership, is moved to tears, hoping Ike might one day become the Demon King. Some time passes by when one day Ike gets the news that the Demon King has decided to put him in charge of getting information about a probable alliance being formed by the human kingdoms. Because during the last battle, the demons faced a sizable human army which can't be of a single kingdom alone. Sadie seems to have gotten quite comfortable with him now, as he decides to take her alongside him to the nearby kingdom for some reconnaissance. While there, Sadie ends up getting distracted by a trickster, but Ike reveals that the trickster is running a scam before taking Sadie away. While walking, they munch on some fruits, and Ike tells Sadie that he thinks that the humans are definitely forming an alliance at this point. Sadie seems confused, so Ike explains that whenever something life-threatening like the Demon King has emerged, the humans have set aside their differences and joined the forces of all the human kingdoms together to fight against their common enemy. According to Ike, this alliance has been made 3 times in history, and every single time, the alliance was able to defeat the Demon King army completely and managed to push them all the way back to their castle. She asks whether the humans will win this time as well, which confused Ike as Sadie should root for the humans, but she replies that the humans have never been nice to her and made her a slave. If the demon army never invaded, she would have been like the other slave children in the cage forever. Ike realizes how cruel every single society is and reassures Sadie that the current Demon King is the wisest and the strongest in several centuries. Before they could talk more, however, a voice stops them, and when Ike turns around, he spots the trickster alongside a fat goon, shouting at him for revealing his tricks. Ike tells him that he was running a scam and not a trick, but the trickster gets mad and tells him that he will have to pay for what he did. This annoys Ike, who looks around to check whether anyone is around before pulling out his magic wand and using ice magic to freeze Fatty's feet. The trickster is shocked to see that Ike is a magician, but before he could react, Ike creates a bunch of icy spears and aims it towards the trickster, telling him to apologize. The trickster thinks Ike is bluffing and starts cussing him out, but Ike stabs him with one of the spears in his arm, showing that he means business. After that, he asks the trickster whether he has any information about the happenings in this kingdom, and fearing for his life, the trickster reveals that the alliance had been made between the kingdoms, but the kingdom of Rosaria is planning a surprise attack on the demons to get an advantage and a chance at glory. Ike thinks that it makes perfect sense and asks the trickster where they are planning their attack. For some reason, this scummy trickster knows all the details about the war plans and tells him that the city of Arsenam will be attacked because its defenses are weak right now. Ike heard all he wanted to know and left alongside Sadie back to their city to plan the defense. That evening, the army of Rosaria sends a battalion to invade the city of Arsenam, but before they could even ready their siege weapons, skeletons start popping out of the ground. Their leader, named Ali's, tells them to maintain the formation as skeletons are weak, but unbeknownst to them, they walk straight into an ambush as arrows start falling on them like hailfire, while a bunch of orcs exit from the jungle and start smashing their army. Ollie's realizes that Arsenal was prepared for this attack and that they have walked into a trap which might destroy the entire battalion. She immediately calls her soldiers to form a retreating line and make sure no one gets left behind. While this was happening, Ike and Piggy were watching this unfold from the walls as Lord Piggy praises Ike because without him they would have definitely fallen for a surprise attack. Before Ike could ever reply though, someone shoots an arrow from behind which hits Ike in the back, and he falls over to the ground, unconscious. When he regains consciousness, he finds himself in bed with Saphiro, who claims that she was called by the Piggy after Ike got hit, and she was able to quickly heal him, otherwise he could have died. She congratulates him on crushing the surprise attack, but tells Ike that even this time the human casualties were bare minimum. She tells him that the Demon Lord might get suspicious if this keeps happening, but Ike replies that no matter what, his primary goal is to make this world suitable for both humans and the demons to live together just like Rom imagined. She tells him to take care and disappears while he calls in the Piggy and tells him to figure out what happened to the commander of the human forces. The Piggy replies that the commander ended up getting imprisoned by her senior officer, who claimed that she was a disgrace as she retreated from the battlefield. The next morning, Ike decides to head over to the prison where she was kept as he wanted to meet her once, but he ends up getting followed by Lily, who is his underling but way too annoying for him. He tells her to stay silent or go away, but she stays by his side as they spy on the few guards in front of the prison. She asks whether she should destroy the two men so he can go inside, but Ike responds that he doesn't want to create a scene right now. Before he could stop her though, that imbecile went ahead and beat the shit out of the guards, claiming that she didn't kill them just as he wanted. They enter inside the prison, which turns out to be bigger than he imagined, and he realizes that it will take much more time to find the commander. But Lily ends up beating the information out of one of the guards, who tell her that the commander is on the top floor and even gives the keys. While they were moving towards the stairs, some other guards get alerted and attack them, but Lily hands the keys over to Ike and tells him to move ahead while she deals with them. Ike moves ahead and turns back to watch the guards getting demolished, but keeps moving forward. Soon he reaches the top floor and opens the cell only to find it completely empty. He enters inside when suddenly the commander attacks him from behind, which he barely dodges. She grabs a knife and starts attacking him again, but he somehow manages to slip by and takes out his staff before knocking her down to the floor. He lets her get up while she asks him whether he came here to laugh at her for losing or if he wants to kill her. But Ike replies that he only jabbered to know whether she sent an assassin to infiltrate Arsenal and kill him. The woman looks surprised and asks him whether he is actually a jabber, which catches Ike off guard. Suddenly his thoughts are broken by the sound of guard rushing to the top floor, and Freedom jabber advantage of his distraction and puts a knife to his throat, asking him to tell honestly whether he is a demon or a human. Ike has no idea what to do as he contemplates if he should gibber his true identity or not. If you liked this video, make sure to subscribe and check out this brand new anime about a gamer who gets transported to a new world and becomes the strongest hero.